A core cause of suffering in our modern world is addiction. And we don't really think of ourselves as addicts. We usually think that addicts are those people who are doing drugs, but not me. Those people are addicts, but I'm not an addict. And this simply isn't really true. You see, the average person has many addictions to their phone, addictions to TV, their laptop, checking their emails, scrolling Instagram, junk food, binge eating, eating when they're bored, corn. You understand what I'm saying? I can't say the word on YouTube, but just fill in the blank. You know, make the connection, corn. All sorts of other stuff. There's so many addictions that the average person has, but we don't really, number one, identify them as addictions until someone basically kind of tells us. And two, this is a bit of a rough realization to actually have, because the second we admit that, oh yeah, I'm an addict, which is that's a rough realization to have. Like, yeah, I'm addicted to things. The second that realization dawns on us and we can admit it to ourselves and we just kind of swallow it, we have to recognize that we now have to kind of do something about our behavior, or else we're going to suffer. Because essentially addiction is basically just emotional repression, which causes us a lot of suffering, to continuously push down feelings, to not feel feelings, to not be in the present. This is not a comfortable experience, to always be chasing, to always be distracting, to always be stimulating yourself. This is just, of course, escapism, and it doesn't lead to fulfillment, as I'm sure you already know. So this is why I'm basically bringing up this whole topic, because basically everyone struggles with this, and this is probably the number one reason why you actually suffer in your life. You see, our addictions just kind of numb us to our present experience. We don't feel safe existing in the present moment. We can't just sit without stimulation and just be okay. I'm pretty sure there was a study where the average person, they brought a bunch of people into a room, and they maybe, I think, had to sit in a room and just do nothing for like 15 minutes, or they could shock themselves. And you can Google the study on your own, because I'm not going to get it entirely correct. I'm just kind of spontaneously remembering it. But essentially, a large amount of people, I think maybe the majority of people, I'm not entirely sure, actually just chose to, I think, just shock themselves instead of just be there for 15 minutes doing nothing. You see, for me personally, as you know, I've done meditation for like 8 years, sitting down and doing nothing for 15 minutes is bliss for me. Like, it's just an experience of pleasure and enjoyment. And my favorite parts of the day are actually when I can just sit down and do nothing and be just totally mindful, relaxing into my body, applying full awareness to my experience. Like, it's just complete bliss. It's the best experience. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of people disagree. They would say otherwise. Sitting down and doing nothing is hell. Right, because there's so many repressed emotions that are now trying to come up that, you know, you don't face. And it's rough and it's difficult. So like I said, addiction is basically just simply emotional repression. And these are 3 books that I want you to pick up so you can have a good understanding of addiction. Now, the first one is basically Natural Rest for Addiction, A Radical Approach to Recovery Through Mindfulness and Awareness by Scott Killaby. This is a fantastic, like, just some of the best work on addiction that I actually have ever found in my life. Same thing with this, Awake But Sick, also by Scott and his friend Toshi, right? Basically, both of them are about addiction and emotional repression. And then this one, Gabor Mate, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, right? So basically, until we're ready and committed to facing the pain that we have buried inside of us, we are going to be compulsive. We're going to just be chasing pleasure. We're going to be continuously distracting ourselves, avoiding ourselves, escaping life. We're just going to be suffering because we're living in this sort of never-ending struggle against the buried pain and sensations inside of us. What was your whole purpose for coming onto YouTube as well to even like watch this video? Were you just bored and wanting to, you know, find some entertainment? Were you bored and wanting to just, you know, like stimulate yourself? Or were you actually wanted to learn, right? It's like it's serving a purpose for you, right? So like what's the motivation? What's the motivating factor behind why you even did this? Same thing with why you reach for your phone. Are you just bored or stressed? Binge eating, same thing. Do you feel stress? Do you feel sadness? Do you feel anger? Do you feel restlessness? Etc. So basically, watch the feelings that are actually motivating your behavior. And what you will actually find is that because odds are you don't actually practice fully feeling emotions. And we're not taught this in school or in our culture, so it's rough, it's challenging stuff. That's why I'm basically here teaching it. Basically, what you'll find is that a lot of our behavior is simply an emotional experience that we don't like, and we avoid it. Just end of story. It doesn't need any more explaining than that. It's, I don't like this part of myself. I don't like my experience, so I'm going to manipulate it. I'm going to attempt to just alter it. I'm going to try and remove these sensations and then get these sensations. And in this inner tug of war, we experience suffering. And of course, this doesn't lead us anywhere in our life. This does not lead us to fulfillment. Let's put this into the big picture. We just remain addicts for the rest of our life until we die. Suffering, not really knowing why we suffer, continuously repressing ourselves. This infects our attention span, our productivity, our self-esteem, our relationships, our emotional connection, our authenticity, our self-actualization, our self-transcendence, our whole mental health, our perception of reality. I can keep going. This is going to bleed into every single domain of our life because fundamentally addiction is robbing you of your biological energy, your physical energy, or your mental energy, and your emotional energy. So your biological and physical energy, your mental and your emotional energy are being drained. You, as an energetic being, are being drained of your precious life force. And of course, that does not feel good. It doesn't feel pleasurable to do things that are destructive to yourself. What feels pleasurable is life-affirming actions. Doing things that are life-affirming for you. Eating healthy food, going into nature, meditation, yoga, exercise, reading a book, healthy connections, following your highest excitement in this moment. Scrolling all day does not feel good, playing video games all day does not feel good, etc. So our whole perception of pleasure in our culture is kind of wrong for the most part, right? When I tell you, follow what feels good, I'm sure in a lot of people's minds, they immediately think, that just means like play video games all. That's terrible. What a horrible thing to say. Play video games all day. Eat muffins all day. Chips and cookies all day. And then tacos, eating out every night. Right? That does not actually feel good. What state does that create in us? Sickness, disease, low energy, mental fog, emotional, lack of clarity. So when we're stuck in addiction, we're actually kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, and we're perpetually sabotaging our happiness and our own energy. And I want to actually offer you a bit of a shift in perspective when it comes to addiction. And this is something that I believe will be resisted, but nonetheless, it's actually very, very important. So, who's doing your addiction? It's you. But the thing is that we don't really take responsibility for a lot of aspects of our experience that we should take responsibility for, or that we need to take responsibility for. So we will often think, it's beyond my control, or I'm not doing it. There's all sorts of habits and patterns we have that these underlying assumptions are kind of just in them. That, it's not really in my control. Now, a very powerful realization you can have is that you are doing your addiction, and that you can actually stop your addiction. It's completely radical, right? That you can stop your addiction. Who'd have thought? So let me actually explain this a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying there's not going to be buried emotions and sensations and just hurt that aren't going to arise. I'm not saying you're going to probably be able to just do this immediately, but what I am saying is that I'm definitely not doing your addiction. Your mom's definitely not doing your addiction. Your cousin's not doing your addiction. You're doing your addiction. You are giving your energy to this over and over and over and over again. On an unconscious level, you are choosing this. And if you actually took responsibility for the fact that you are doing this, this would actually help you tremendously. This would give you a sense of agency over your experience and help you to actually shape it up. This does not mean forcing yourself to quit. Again, you need to really listen to what I'm actually saying here. Because what I'm saying is not lacking in compassion or lacking in understanding. I've read 300 plus psychology and trauma books. I've read dozens of books on addictions. I have personally overcome many, many addictions. So what I'm saying here does not lack in compassion or understanding. This comes from a healed perspective that incorporates literally a lot of literature, a lot of direct experience, helping one-to-one clients, etc. So we need to become conscious of the fact that we are the ones doing our unconscious patterns. Addiction is an unconscious pattern that we're doing to repress emotion. We need to become aware of the fact that we are doing this and then start to actually create patterns in our life that break that. Now, the thing is, though, is that people don't react well when you challenge their addictive patterns. That's why I'm saying this information is most likely going to be resisted by a lot of people. If you take away drugs from a drug addict, do they have a great response? No, right? They're not usually happy about that. When you take away an addict's pleasure, the thing that they're addicted to, there's a response to it that is often quite feral. I'll use that word. It's knee-jerk, right? It's a sort of knee-jerk reaction, and it's just often aggressive. It's often just reactionary, because what we're doing is we're using the object to attempt to get a need met, a deep need for safety. So addiction is also driven by our need for safety. We don't feel safe experiencing our emotions or being present in our experience. We don't feel safe with ourselves. We don't feel safe existing. We're afraid of life itself. So when that's taken away, that's seen as a threat to getting my needs met. There's a pure survival response. So when the patterns of an addict are challenged, you can expect a sort of like lashing out almost, which is why, again, I'm saying why this information will most likely be resisted, because I'm very directly attempting to challenge your addictive patterns. I'm trying to get you to realize them, and I'm trying to get you to challenge them. Addicted to corn, your phone, junk food, binge eating, TV, Netflix, laptop, whatever it is, smoking, alcohol. What I'm essentially getting you to realize is, right, what am I addicted to? How am I doing my addiction? I'm trying to reinforce a sense of agency. What are the ways in which you do your addiction or keep it alive? Because there's many ways in which you could actually help yourself to quit the addiction. But we typically just don't do them because we're stuck in the addiction. We don't want to quit. We're afraid. We're repressing emotions. We're in a sort of low state. It's rough. It's challenging. But again, I'm trying to reinforce a sense of agency, power, and responsibility in you. In what ways do you continuously do your addiction? Do you process the underlying emotions? Do you change your environment, which I'm going to be talking about very, very shortly? Do you actually attempt to help yourself? Do you, I'll just leave it at that. Do you ever try and interrupt the usual patterns of your life so that you can create something more healthy for yourself? And I mean seriously, like, do you have a serious commitment to it? So most people with their addictions, it's a no. With most of the addictions that people have, it's a fuck no. That is just not at all what anyone's doing. We will blame our addictions on whatever. We will not like taking responsibility for the hard truth of I'm numbing myself because I'm afraid of life. I'm afraid of my emotions. I'm afraid of my experience. I'm numbing myself because I can't be with myself and be okay just existing as myself. I just don't feel safe with that. There's rough truths that we actually have to realize. And not only that, it's not only rough truths, but there's a lot of love that we have to give ourselves as well. If you have an addiction, do not beat yourself up over it, because, and here's where I'm going to open up my heart to you. So I'm not just an asshole telling you to take more responsibility, but whatever. If you have an addiction, do not beat yourself up about it. This is like a natural thing that the human mind does. It's a natural thing that we do to avoid pain. Again, keep in mind, like, everyone has dozens of addictions. I was addicted to my phone many years ago. I'd wake up, I'd scroll on it for an hour. That didn't break until I recognized it was an addiction and that there was an underlying sadness, and until I actually changed my environment. Right? That didn't change for a long, long time until I got very clear about what was actually happening, how I was doing it, and I was just very honest with myself and actually had self-compassion. So don't beat yourself up about it. There's nothing fundamentally broken about you or anything like that. Totally normal and natural thing. It's very, very challenging. So you need the support of other people as well. Like, a lot of people are just very, very individualistic nowadays. That's our culture. That's just capitalist lifestyle. And it's individualistic to a fault. Individualism's great, a personal sense of freedom and choice and all that kind of stuff, right? But of course, we also have sort of collectivist needs, right? Community, friendship, connection, love, belongingness. So actually seek support from other people. Like, don't skip this one. Have an environment that's going to help you and give you good energy. It's not just you by yourself and you're going to force yourself to quit. That's not even close to what I'm actually trying to tell you in this video. So if you've interpreted anything in my video that fits into that bubble, force yourself to quit, you're not trying hard enough, anything like that, that's not what I'm telling you at all. You need to have a good environment around you. And if you don't have a good environment around you, you need to go find one. I understand that can be very, very challenging for people, but there's no way around it. If your environment doesn't help you, if you don't have the people around you to support you as well, to give you love, belongingness, connection, to challenge you, if you don't have someone to challenge your BS as well, nothing's really going to happen for the most part. Like, you can change, but it's going to be a lot harder. Make sure your needs are getting met for belongingness and connection, and make sure, like, people can support your shift as well. If the people that you're hanging out with right now do not support that shift that you're trying to make to a higher version of you that's just feeling better and more clear and self-actualizing, like, you need to not be with certain people. You need to not be in certain environments that just are low vibe. Like, do not expose yourself to things that are destroying you on top of your addiction as well. Again, this can be very, very challenging. I'm not saying that's actually easy or that you're going to do that in 5 minutes whatsoever. But on top of the whole environment aspect, physically change your environment. Like, if you're addicted to your phone, do not charge it right next to your bed so that when you wake up, you scroll on it immediately. Like, physically move your environment. Get your TV out of your room if that's what you're addicted to. Put your laptop in a drawer. You'll have to learn how to have boundaries with these things and have some kind of system for yourself so that you're not continuously abusing it. You will need to physically change your environment. Make it hard for you to, let's say, be on your phone if you're addicted to your phone. I guarantee you, if you are physically separated from your phone, you're not going to be on your phone. Want to know why? Because your phone is not physically with you. You can't be on your phone. Same thing with junk food. Set up your environment so it's easy. If you buy a bunch of junk food and then put it on the counter, you're going to inevitably, when it's at nighttime, when it's night and you have less impulse control or you're stressed after work, you're just going to go binge eat. You're going to eat it. It's right there. It's too easy. You've made your environment something that doesn't work for you. Physically change your environment. Right? Take down the TV. Don't have 20 TVs in every room in your home, right? Like, just have maybe like whatever you need, right? And like, make it difficult for yourself to engage in that behavior. For me personally, I have my phone in a drawer And like my whole laptop, I just put it in a drawer most days, unless I really need it for work, because I run an online business, so I'm often like going to need it. But for a lot of days, I'm intentionally just not using it very much. I'm not touching it. There's nothing to look at. I'm just doing other things. And then when I need it, I pull it out, and I'm very conscious of when I'm using it and what my purpose for it is. And then I put it back in the drawer. I set up an environment so that it is basically difficult for me to engage in addictive behaviors. On top of that, I do a lot of emotional work on myself. So doing the addictive behavior is so obviously destructive to me and feels so low vibe that I don't want to do it. I just instinctually am like repulsed by it. I just like reject it. It's a very easy decision for me to make. But many years ago, it wasn't like that when I was addicted to my phone. Wake up, scroll, I'd just be on it throughout the day. It was in my pocket, right? I had it in my little pants pocket. Of course I'm going on my phone. It's extremely addicting. All the apps are designed to exploit my mind and get me addicted to it. Of course, when I have it in my pocket all day, I'm just going to be on it. Of course, if I don't move it physically away from my bed, I'm just going to be on it. So buy an alarm clock. Charge it in a different room. Put it somewhere else. Move it out of sight. Again, do not undervalue what I'm sharing with you in this video. It's rough, but challenge your patterns if you're stuck in an addictive pattern. Any kind of negative habit that's draining your energy, challenge them. Right? You will have to recognize, oh, I'm doing this. There's so many ways in which I'm doing this. I don't process my emotions. I don't physically change my environment. I don't seek help. I don't get better relationships so that they help me to actually like raise my consciousness and self-actualize and be a healthier version of myself. We can keep brainstorming ways in which, right, if you ask the question, how do I do this to myself? So do not rationalize some kind of helpless, powerless victim style position, because that's not true. I'm here to tell you that your brain is most likely not fundamentally broken, and you're not a helpless human being. You're actually a very powerful human being, but you are probably not very conscious of your energy and where it's going, and your emotions, and your environmental impacts on you. But you have the power to become conscious of all of that, and to actually change it to serve your highest self. I know I'm a terrible person telling you that your brain's not actually broken. So let's run through some of these points once again. Addiction is something that we do. There's no one else who's doing the addictive pattern. Who are you going to blame it on? Are you going to blame it on that person or that person or that person or the system? This isn't going to actually help you. Now, of course, we can have more systemic support in our countries. We can have better communities. There's a million things we can actually do, but blaming isn't going to help you. You need to take responsibility for how you continuously put yourself in this position. What do you do that furthers the addiction? I don't process my emotions. Don't change my environment. I don't get the support I need, etc. So recognize that there's things you can do to challenge this. Number two, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of pain in breaking addictions, because it's a way that you repress emotions that you don't like. It's a way that you habitually avoid the parts of yourself that you dislike. Expect pain to arise and learn how to tolerate it. Not just tolerate it, but learn how to love it. So what do I mean by that? Because I don't want that to get misinterpreted. Love your pain. Love the inner child inside of you that is suffering and is driving you to do addictive patterns. There's a sub-personality, there's a part of your psychology that does not receive the love that it needs. Learn to love that part of yourself. Learn to fully feel the emotion. Learn how to be present with it and give it the attention that it never got in childhood. Learn how to actually sit with that part of yourself and hold it in the same way that a mother holds her newborn baby. With that degree of love, start giving that to yourself, because that's what you're looking for when you're actually doing the addictive pattern. Learn how to be in the present experience. Embrace boredom, embrace your repressed anger or sadness, etc. Feel the pain as it arises. And as you process it, as you change your environment, you're not going to do the addictive behavior anymore. The addiction is not going to be desirable. Your vibe will raise, your consciousness will raise, your emotional state will raise, and you're not going to want to do that to yourself. You're not going to want to infect yourself, to just drain your energy. You will naturally start choosing more life-affirming behaviors. Moving on, the next point, this is all kind of freestyled off the top of my head, by the way, so I got to just kind of go off memory. The next point was about environment and getting support from other people. Share this with people. Say like, yo, I'm addicted to this. Go to your friends. Hey guys, I'm addicted to my phone. I'm going to end my screen time. I'm going to do like 20 minutes a day, only mandatory things that I have to do, and I'm not going to scroll. And this is my goal. This is just like the goal that I'm actually setting for myself. These are the boundaries that I'm setting for myself. Share it with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your husband, with your family. Safe people around you. Have safe connections around you that you can be vulnerable with and share these things with people. I'm struggling with this addiction. This is the goal that I have for myself. I'm just letting you know, right? I'm struggling with this. And they need to be able to support you. You have to be able to feel their support, their empathy for you, right? You just share that with them. And again, you're going to suffer. There's no way around this one, okay? Addiction is suffering, and then facing the emotions that you've buried is also going to be challenging for you at first, but you will grow. You will become skilled. You will feel them, you will process them, and then you will befriend those parts of you, and they will not torture you anymore. You will realize that your own avoidance was the torturing element in all of this. You constantly neglecting yourself was the torturing element in all of this. This is what was actually causing suffering. So have great people around you who are capable of supporting you, who aren't going to shame you. Have people around you who maybe can even, help you feel accountable for your goal, right? The fourth one, honestly, oh yeah, I remember now. It was physically change your environment. If your phone is a problem, get your phone out your room, man. Get the TV out, the laptop. If the junk food's a problem, put it in a drawer somewhere out of sight, far away. Tell your husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or someone, yep, struggling with junk food these days. I'm going to take I'm going to start slow. 3 days without it, 2 days without it. Right, I'm just going to set a basic goal for myself. Move it out of sight, okay? Set up the environment so that it supports you. Do not have muffins on the counter or cookies on the counter right there, so then you just go and grab them. There's a lot of things that are occurring between the arising of your desire and then the addictive behavior. There's the feeling of the desire. You're doing all these actions. You're going to the grocery store, you're buying the junk food, you're literally handing people money for the junk food, you're putting it back in your little grocery cart, you're putting it in the trunk, you're driving home, you're taking it out, you're putting it on the countertop, then you're eating it. There's so many steps. At any point, if you just made a different decision, the pattern would be broken, but nonetheless, we stay stuck in it because we don't challenge the pattern. We don't think about how do I challenge the pattern. Moving on to the very last thing that I'm going to share with you. In what ways do I stay stuck in this pattern? In what ways am I doing this to myself? I don't challenge it. I don't change my environment. I don't process my emotions. I don't get the help I need. I don't get the support I need, etc. There's ways in which we are staying stuck and there's no one else to blame except ourselves. Right? This doesn't mean that, again, you have to beat yourself up about it. It's not at all what I'm talking about in this video. That'll actually just make things far worse. But you do need to recognize the responsibility that you have in creating this scenario. You do have to recognize your creative energy has went to creating this. And that your creative energy can go into creating something far more beautiful because you're powerful, you're not broken, there's nothing fucked up about your brain. My brain is just broken, I'm screwed. It's just not true. I'm not buying it. It's just not true. There's realistically a very rare, very, very small percentage of people who might fall into that category, but for people, typical people watching this, that's most likely not the case. So I wish you a lot of luck. I wish you a tremendous amount of luck. I give you a lot of love. I'm giving you a lot of love. It's challenging stuff. You're a very brave and courageous individual for doing this. This is the work that most people avoid and they don't want to acknowledge themselves. And right, this is great stuff that you're actually doing if you are committed to this kind of path. I'm offering one-to-one coaching where I help people with this kind of stuff all the time. I also have my private community. There's a few of us in there right now. We're having incredible weekly calls. I have my emotional transformation program in there. You can join for free for 7 days. After that, it's $99 a month. Very, very transformational and powerful stuff that you can find the support you need in there. Take it easy.